We might have certain expectations when we attend an educational conference. We might expect to learn something that will help us become better teachers, more effective administrators, or more creative facilitators. We might expect to be taught new skills, new knowledge, new techniques for better teaching. We might desire to meet experts who can answer our questions and enlighten us with their expertise. But what would happen if you went to a conference where learning was not the intended outcome so much as a question to be explored, wrestled with, problematized? In the summer of 2017 at the University of North Texas, the Onsted Institute for Education in the Visual Arts and Design and the Department of Philosophy and Religion hosted a symposium titled Education as Experimentation. The intent of this gathering was to rethink the form and function of an educational conference from the ground up in order to create an experimental space where assumptions about the most basic aspects of teaching and learning could be put at risk. Participants did not present papers or findings. They did not give advice or tutorials. Instead, they designed experimental protocols that were collectively enacted by invited guests from multiple fields, including art education, philosophy, design, and museum education. We did not dictate what the content of the protocol should be, but we did create a list of principles which could act as formal constraints. Everyone can experiment. There is no hierarchical distinction between expert and novice. All are capable and all are put at risk equally. Experimentation should suspend, deactivate, and interrupt. Experiments do not test hypotheses or illustrate existing findings. Rather, they suspend predeterminations to allow potentiality for something new to appear. Public, collective experimentation is essential for democratic life. True experimentation is never a private, personal affair. It is always done together. Surprising, awkward, curious. When we suspend the desire for learning outcomes and assessment-driven measurements, we might just find another form of educational life worth living.
So these are all the PowerPoints are. Can you actually see it? Because it's very small. Yeah. Our introductory sessions for undergraduate education studies. So first year education studies. So they're very, very introductory. So I'm not going to ask you to teach about quantum mechanics or something like that, right? So even if it's a topic like, I don't know, intelligence or Kant, you don't know anything about, it's still introductory. So in principle, you will be able to say something about what you see on the PowerPoint, right? Who would like to give it a try? Well, you want to start?
Good day. Today we're going to talk about education management and leadership. This is an introduction, so I'm just going to give you some nice kind of way into the practicalities and maybe the kind of also questions that we might have when it comes to the question of or topic of management and leadership. So what does it mean to manage? What does it mean to lead? Actually, I'm a session leader, so I should know something about this. So today, so we're gonna, first, of course, we're gonna discuss how important it is to manage and lead education anywhere in K through 12 settings and also in universities. And then we're gonna discuss how, what kind of concepts could we use to lead and manage education. And then we're gonna discuss kind of like what kind of qualities and behaviors and competencies a true leader needs, right? And so I have some questions that you might want to think of. in terms of like what kind of leadership, what is leadership, right? What is it? And how does it differ from management, right? So as a leader, do I manage? Or as a manager, do I lead? You can think about that, because this is actually, because as a leader, I'm just going to lead this whole thing through. I'm not going to ask you. You have to just kind of like think them in your minds. And also, of course, another thing is like, what makes an effective 21st century leader? In this century, we know that we need those skills, those 21st century skills, and we all know them, and we should know them by heart. And that's something that we should think how they manage us, right? And how do we manage them? So leader can manage, right? And a manager can lead, or can. And this is my first question to you. Do you think that a manager is a leader? Yes. Not necessarily. Okay, thanks. Because I'm going to lead this through. So here we have this different kind of, so a leader, as we said, a leader leads, right? But a manager, it's more like a planner, right? Right? So you manage, you help the leader, right? In some cases, it would be great to have a manager and leader, as a combined as one person. But sometimes it's also good to have like just a leader, right? So in that sense, you need managers. You need a lot of them, as we know nowadays in universities, they're full of managers. And also in schools, there are people who manage us. Manage you guys, because I'm a leader. So yes, that's important. And then I think it's also important that leaders align people. Yes, they align people, and kind of like make them, again, kind of desire that common goal and set themselves in relation to that goal. And it's so there's that motivation and inspiring thing and controlling, which goes more to that manager stuff. But am I good? No, okay. No. So that was it? Okay, thank you. Okay, all right.
Enlightenment and Modernity 2. So y'all are all familiar with the very basic introduction that I gave you last lecture. And now we really drill down into Immanuel Kant. So let's see what's happening. Oh, that's a lot of text. Okay. All right off the bat, let's take us back in time, 1724. Immanuel Kant is born. I'm just going to read a little bit so that, I'm sure that we're all familiar with this. One of the most important figures in Western philosophy. Radical break with traditional thought, more radical than Descartes, which defines how philosophy looks today. Super helpful. Okay. More radical than Descartes. Would be helpful if I knew something about Descartes. All contemporary philosophy is post-Kantian, so to speak. You are either in favor of Kant, as most Anglophone analytical philosophers, or you hate him, as most continental philosophers do. Okay, so this is a love-or-hate relationship that we're starting here. There's a dynamic between these two warring factions. And what Copernicus did for astronomy, not the Earth, but the sun is in the middle of the universe, Kant did for philosophy. Okay, so we're drawing this connection between Copernicus and Kant in terms of their earth-shattering realizations, the things that they have done for their fields, a complete reversal of our normal way of understanding ourselves and the world. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Enlightenment. Hopefully we will enlighten ourselves on the Enlightenment. Entertainment is man's enlightenment, not entertainment. I can read. Is man's emergence from his self-imposed immaturity. Self-imposed immaturity, very interesting. Immaturity is the inability to use one's understanding without guidance from another. I like this connection to the leadership talk we just had. We need some guidance from another person. That is our immaturity, and we grow out of that, with time. This immaturity is self-imposed when its cause lies not in the lack of understanding, but in the lack of resolve and courage to use it without guidance from another. But in lack of resolve and courage to use it without guidance from another. Phrase. I have courage to use your own understanding. That is the motto of enlightenment. Interesting. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so we're going back and forth from these big ideas to these kind of more granular. I want to make sure we just all really understand Kant's life, his background. And I'm just, things that happened, sorry, things that happened during his lifetime. So this isn't his biography. These are just to give context. There's a lot happening in the world right now to form his thoughts and his opinions, the independence of the United States, the French Revolution, the death of Mozart, Haiti gains independence from France. Lots of independence seeking in his time. Lots of breaking off, lots of rupture happening. And apart from his well-known Enlightenment Manifesto, yes, very, very well-known, I know it very well, Kant is very famous for 3 books which form the entire core of his thought. It's around science, ethics, and art, so the intersections of all of these 3 major fields: critique of pure reason, critique of practical reason, and critique of judgment, and how they all he's really critical. He's a very critical person. Next to this, Kant has also written on education, notably how the German university should be reformed, but also on upbringing children. Sounds like a really yabba-do time right there. Right. Oh, look at his puppet. I love that. All right. So to judge something as critique is not necessarily a negative thing. Critique is just how we talk about things. Most notably, I think, when we learn how to critique in art, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just how we talk about what is in front of us. So let's break that notion of critique as an immediately negative thing. It is just a conversation that we're having. Or critique is, I should have read further. That's not what he's saying at all. Or critique is positive. I can't, yeah. Thank you.
So our invitation for today is to hold on to these guys. And I'm actually going to have to wing this next part because my speakers aren't quite, the speaker situation isn't working. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch something. It's about a 12-minute film, but we're only going to watch 2 minutes of it. And then I will give you more things to think about. As you're watching, what I'd like you to do is to be paying attention to what is calling out to you, to be paying attention to what is resonating with you, to be paying attention to what you notice. And because of the sound challenges, you are all going to have different experiences in how you experience this film.
But that's all right because we're going to try really hard. Isn't that right, Cameron?
Yes, Ms. Peters.
Okay, great. Everyone listen up. So we're going to want to work on we get ours from the answer and the information in the story, okay? We're going to go ahead and test, factual test, and try this actus test. Test, your test, open up. We're going to page, go to 3. First on page 3.
¿Qué dijo? ¿A poco va a empezar el examen? No, es una práctica.
We're going to take notes from the story, and we're going to turn it into a math problem, and we're going to walk through it together, okay? So the boy ran 3 blocks. So everyone write 3 blocks.
I didn't even know. He looked like a stranger.
How long did it take him to run 3 blocks? Michelle?
6 minutes.
Very good, 6 minutes. All right, so then we're going to take 3 blocks and 6 minutes,
¿Por qué el
right?
niño corre con los bloques? ¿Qué? Sí, ¿por qué el niño corre con los bloques? No,
Okay, so the
corre 3
questions are going to
calles.
go on to ask us, how long will it take him to run 20 blocks? What do we do? How many minutes is that per block?
8 minutes.
Try and remember to raise your hand if you want to answer, okay? No, it's not 8 minutes. Michelle?
18 minutes?
Nope, not 18 minutes. Yes, Enrique?
40?
40, yeah, very good. How'd you get 40?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, 40 is the right answer. How did you get it?
I forgot.
You forgot. Okay. Does anyone know how we get 40? Yes, Moises. Yep, that's right. Very good. Great. Can you tell us how you got that?
40?
Yep, very good. But can you explain to the class what you did here, how you got that?
40?
Okay, all right, you guys, settle down.
That is so dumb.
Joe, do you want to lose your recess?
No.
Okay, then. Thank you, Moises.
Can you help me, please?
So we went a little long. I know, you're like, what happens? Tell me what happens. Okay, so here's the invitation. Here's the, as Tyson has given us instructions, here's the experiment, here's the protocol. Your call as to which of the 3 directions you want to take this. One is, right now, based on what you've seen, you're going to create a response, just based on the bit that you've seen. And the response is going to represent something about what has captivated you about just the 4.5 minutes or so that we've watched. The second invitation is to create a scene that comes either before or after this, however you want to. And we're going to talk about materials in a second. And the third invitation is to just gather around my laptop. I'm going to take it off the projector and watch the rest of it, and then respond after watching the rest of it. All right, so those are the 3 invitations. You can work together, you can work individually, but we're going to play an experiment for about 20 minutes or so. Yeah? Okay. So the other thing I wanted to say was we have a lot of different kinds of materials here. But I also want to encourage you to use some of the materials you might have in your bag. Your phone, for example. We have one little Polaroid camera there. And so for those of you who want to make something digital as a response, I will give you my email and you can send the link to me, and then we can project those up as well. The last thing I want to say is before you go off into your directions of what you want to do, it would be great if you would just jot down right now a quick thought about what has resonated so far for you. These are just notes for yourself, but put them somewhere where you can revisit.
experiment takes the notion that Tyson and I have been playing, which is the notion of hacking. And the idea of hacking is the idea that when something is given to you as a given, as something that is fixed, you can reappropriate it and make new meanings out of it. And by doing that, there's a democratic play in which you challenge the idea that anyone can fix the meaning of something. So you give it a new meaning, but also you invite others to take whatever you made then and give it new meanings. So with that in mind, we're gonna play with a speech that Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos gave. And in different stations, we're gonna hack it and we're gonna remix it and make it into something new. So in one of the stations, you're gonna have tools to play with it with audio. So you have a voice recorded instruments, a computer loaded with Audacity, and you're gonna remix the audio of the speech, adding things, layering it to make it into something new. And that something new has to be something that speaks to you. So it doesn't have to be necessarily critical if you're not critical of it, but it has to be made into something that speaks to you. In another session, on another table, you're gonna play with it visually. So you have a printer connected to a computer, you have a Polaroid camera, you have magazines to make a collage, you have different markers and glue and all that stuff. And then in the third station, you're gonna play with it textually. So you have a transcript of a speech by DeVos, and you're gonna be able to cut it and paste it and make it into something new, a new kind of text. It can be two-dimensional, three-dimensional, using all the tools at your disposal.
So we need you to engage, to be loud, and to never stop fighting for what we believe. We need you to call, write, email, who thinks the status quo is okay, and that they know better than you when it comes to education. Together we can make American education great again. The next generation deserves no less. We need you to write, email, tweet.
So we kind of talked about this being a three-dimensional pop-up constructivist hacked poem in primary colors. So throwing that into art, I'll be referencing red, yellow, and blue as being, foundational colors, foundational thoughts. And I think the title of the piece is called Betsy. We could look at the colors and think about maybe a reference to a minimalist approach.
The purposiveness of this three-dimensional labeling devices exists in contrast to the failure of purposiveness in the speech itself.
But there are a lot of connections to what are perceived as being successes, but that are actually failures. So you have an element of deception in what's being communicated and what the reality is.
He saw things actually fell apart.
So on the group that's working on the audio, what did you see? How did you read it? We don't have to listen to it again because everyone has listened to it. But what?
It speaks for itself. No, okay. First of all, I typically audio, which tends to be my least favorite format of learning. But what I realized and made the point here is that it gave me a headache. And I couldn't really hear because of, I think Workman did a really good job of layering all the different textures, and all I could hear were the buzzwords. So
I want to say something, just bringing something back that I said at the beginning, which is that part of this is that the product doesn't matter as much as the idea that once you start this, so once you challenge the idea that Betsy DeVos mean one thing, what she says, what it means, and that because she's a Secretary of Education, then everyone else has to follow through, is that you can reappropriate that and make it into a different meaning. But that's also relinquishing because you're also, the moment you start that, you're relinquishing the right to claim propriety over. It's not your property, the final product, because someone else will come and will do something else with that because you entered a game, you entered a flow of. Okay, I'm challenging anyone's right to tell me what something means, but that means I cannot tell someone else what that means either, right? So that once you put that in play, that becomes part of the commons. And it's a plain democracy. It's something that becomes part of the commons and everyone has a stake in it and everyone has a right to redo something with it. But what it's important is to sort of reclaim that right to do something, and to reread something that has been presented as a given.
Now it's time for you to continue the experimentation. Find a PowerPoint you know nothing about, try to teach it. What happens? What do you notice? Rewrite a narrative about your assumptions concerning schools, students, teachers, and learning. What form would this narrative take? Hack into a policy, a research paper, or a speech pertaining to education, suspend its meaning, and open it up for free use. As you complete your experiments, contact us through our website, catch-ed.org, and help us promote education as experimentation. You can also find more information about the Education as Experimentation project through the Onsted Institute website at unt.onsted.edu.